Hey, what's going on, guys? Joe McCall here. And I got something a little controversial. I'm going to shake the boat a little bit. And I'm going to talk about why I believe vacant land, flipping vacant land, doing vacant land investing, whether you're wholesaling it or trying to get cash flow out of it, is better than houses. I'm going to show you why I believe vacant land beats flipping houses almost every time. Now, I have to be real clear here. I believe that there is still a lot of advantages to doing houses. We still do houses ourselves. My coaching business partner, Gavin, still does a lot of houses, but we've been doing more and more vacant land. And I'm finding that these vacant land deals are a lot easier, a lot more profitable, and it's a lot better. It's easier and faster to get to 10K a month in passive cash flow from flipping vacant land. And I'm going to be explaining why here in this little video. And I got a cool mind map I'm going to be sharing with you. If you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube, in the description of this video will be a link to actually get this mind map. All right. So should we get right into it? First of all, let me say, I'm doing this video for a couple reasons to teach you some cool things about why I like vacant land, but I'm also doing a summit coming up. And I'm going to talk about that here in a minute, but it's called thelandsummit.com. If you go to thelandsummit.com, coming up next week as I'm recording this, I'm doing a live class where I'm going to be doing a lot of teaching. I'm going to be answering everybody's questions, and I'm going to be showing you how this stuff actually works so you can start doing it yourself. No fluff, and it's going to be really good. So go to thelandsummit.com. It's free. Now, if you're watching this video after the summit is done, you can you will. If you go to thelandsummit.com, you can go there to watch a recording of it. It's absolutely free. Cool. All right. So I'm going to share my screen here. Hopefully I can get this to work. Again, go to thelandsummit.com. Now, this mind map, I'm going to be teaching from it here. I got a lot to share with you. I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. But again, if you want this mind map, go to the description in the YouTube video or in my Facebook, wherever you're watching this, and you can see it there. Now, why land beats houses every time? And I got to give this disclaimer, and I kind of already did. We're still doing houses. I'm going to talk about how land beats houses most of the time. And some would argue, and I would have a hard time arguing against, land beats houses every time. So, but there are still a lot of advantages to owning and flipping houses. And I just wanted to say too, it's important to be diversified. Try to get your income from multiple streams of income, right? Like we talked about. Now, there are tons and tons and tons of benefits flipping land. And I'm going to talk about that right now, if I can move this around. Now, with vacant land, you don't need to do anything to the property, right? I'm zoomed in way too much. Let me fix that here. You don't have to worry about repairs and inspections and permits. Raw land is truly a hands-off investment. You don't have to worry about vacancies, maintenance, repairs, no more toilets, tenants, trash, mold, termites, broken pipes, new roofs. And a lot of times you don't use any debt, so you can get into these properties free and clear, which means what? Your cash flow is going to be greater. Statistically, now these benefits, by the way, are in no particular order. I just was thinking and researching this and putting it all together. And so this is kind of the order that I just put them into the mind map. All right, statistically speaking, vacant landowners are more likely to be motivated to sell their property. Why? Because they're more removed from the property. They're distant, absentee owners. There's really no emotional attachment to the property. This isn't something that they've lived in or they spent a ton of money on. A lot of times the landowners that we're buying properties from, they bought it 10, 20 years ago, and there's very distant motivation there, and they just don't care. So that's why we buy these properties at 25, 35 cents on the dollar. Got to turn my fan on. And so you can also flip vacant land without ever seeing it in person. There's so many powerful tools available to investors today. I forgot to talk about this. Google Earth is one of them. Google Earth, Google Maps. I use a custom built version of FreedomSoft that I did for vacant land. There's a lot of good CRMs out there for vacant land. We use a tool called Priced, which pulls data from DataTree and gives you comps for free. MapRight is a tool, and there's many, many other tools. And the point is, you don't have to ever go see the properties in person. We use realtors sometimes. We always hire somebody to go take pictures of the property with drones and stuff like that. And a lot of times, our buyers who are looking at the properties will tell us anything that we need to know about it, if we get to that. All right. Land is it's very inexpensive to own as a long-term investment. You don't have mortgage payments. You don't have utility bills, no property management, very, very low property taxes. Most of the properties that we own, we pay maybe $100 to $200 a year in property taxes. Okay. And land gives its owner peace of mind because there's very little risk with land. It's a long-term tangible asset. It doesn't wear out. It doesn't depreciate. It can't get broken, stolen, or destroyed. Also, with vacant land, there's fewer variables, right? Compared to houses, where you have to worry about the condition of the property or all the things hidden behind the walls, like damaged foundation, termites, mold, radon, smoke, previous smokers, or pet damage from previous tenants, existing tenants, any city landlord ordinances, and all of the landlord tenant laws that are out there, the current local market conditions, uh, bank financing, rising interest rates, financing that's hard to get, pleasing picky buyers. Guys, bottom line, land is just simpler. Okay. It's also a great way to diversify. Like I talked about it a minute ago, you diversify your investments. You can add vacant land to your portfolio, which, when you add land to your portfolio and to your investment strategies, reduces a lot of the risks. Land investors call their own shots. You don't have to deal with banks and inspectors and contractors and realtors in the city telling you what to do. There's very minimal local government involvement and intrusion. It takes minimum startup capital. And again, when you're buying land, you don't have to worry about earnest money deposits or proof of funds or inspection periods and all of that. One of my favorite reasons why I like vacant land is very little competition. It's easier to get the better deals. You don't have to move as quickly like you do with houses. And I did a bunch of research. I'm going to share this with you here. And I did this research in ListSource. And I'm going to try to zoom into this so you can see it, hopefully, well here. Boom. All right. This was I went into ListSource and did a bunch of research. And I looked in the last 90 days. Let's see if I can zoom in one more time. In the last 90 days, I teach investors to go after 1 to 20 acres. All right. And there were over 2,798 vacant lots sold to investors in the United States. In the last 90 days, 3 months, almost 2,800 vacant lots sold to investors in the United States. In that same 90-day period, there were 45,380 houses sold to investors. I looked for investors that were LLCs, I believe is what I did here. So basically, there were 16 times more houses than vacant land that was bought by investors. Then again, I looked at who were these investors, how many different investors bought 1 to 20 acre properties in the last 90 days, which is what I teach people to do, right? Only 261 different investors that bought properties in LLCs and bought between 1 to 20 acres bought any properties in the last 90 days. I did this research about a month ago. All right, so what does that mean in comparison to houses? Because there's way more houses than vacant land, right? Well, yeah, but you'd be shocked at how much vacant land there is. So there's 142 million total houses in the United States. I mean, I found it on the internet. It must be true, right? I did some deep scientific research on the Googles. And yeah, so there's $142 million houses in the US, and there's 48 million vacant lots in the US. And guess what? There's 3,143 counties. So yeah, there's more houses, but there's still a ton of vacant land out there in over 3,000 counties. And when you compare the number of investors that are chasing houses and the number of investors that are chasing land, it's way smaller. So if you look at the numbers of active investors and then properties for sale or available rather, that means there's 3,100 houses for every active house investor. So for every active investor out there that's buying houses right now, there are 3,000 houses for each one. But for vacant land, there's 23,000 vacant lots for every active land investor. Do you understand what I'm saying there? 7.4 times more vacant land available for land investors than there are houses for house investors. Make sense? Now, if a land investor were to mail 1,000 letters a week, there is so much vacant land out there. If a real estate investor were to mail 1,000 letters a week, which is a lot to vacant landowners, it would take 932 years to mail every vacant lot in the U.S. And if all 261 active land investors that have bought 1 to 20 acres in the last 90 days, if those 261 mailed 1,000 letters every week, it would take still 3.5 years to mail everyone in the United States. So are you still worried about competition in the land business? No. And if you are worried about competition, I said here, you're fishing in the wrong pond. You're going after the most popular areas. Now, Seth Williams, a good guy from RE Tipster, did an article here that you should read. Will growing competition ever kill the land investing business? I would encourage you to go read this. If you have my mind map, there's a link to that article in there. It's really good. All right, more benefits of vacant land. Lower costs equals higher profits. Why? Because houses land is cheaper than houses and commercial properties and multifamilies and all that, right? You can get started with a smaller investment up front, and you can actually get 100% cash on cash return on your money faster. And I'm going to be sharing more about this in a spreadsheet I'm going to show you in a second here. But with houses, you're doing great if you can get. I always like looking at cash on cash return. The cash that I got in returned to the cash that I put into the deal. The cash that I got back in relation to the cash that I put into the deal every year. With land, you can get your money back a lot faster because there's so much little cash up front that goes into the deal. Passive income. Love, love, love passive income. All right. And I got so much to share about this. See, banks will typically not lend on this kind of land that we go after. We go after cheap, rural, recreational land. So banks don't lend. So that way, when we sell vacant land on owner financing, we get a lot of buyers that are interested and want our land. And also Dodd-Frank, which is regulations and laws that apply to seller financing houses, does not apply to vacant land. Why? Because nobody lives on that vacant land. It's just recreational land. And it's very easy to make $200 to $300 a month on cheap rural recreational land that you could buy. And I'm going to show you here in a minute for $5,000. And you can make $200 or $300 a month in cash flow from that, and then own the property free and clear with only $5,000 out of pocket. So it's an easy way to get very, very good cash flow. All right, here is the spreadsheet. I want to share one more benefit why vacant land is so much better, because God's not making any more of it. Nobody else is making any more land like people are making houses. God's not making any more land. So it's not an infinite resource. There is a ton of it out there, and it's going to be around for a long, long time, and nobody's making any more of it. Does that make sense at all? All right, hold on. Now here's an example spreadsheet. If you click on the link in this mind map, it's going to take you to this spreadsheet right here. And I'm going to do my best to explain this. And I know this is really small. I'm going to zoom in here, and I'm just going to give you an example deal so you can kind of see what it's like. And again, I'm going to be talking about this in thelandsummit.com. And I'm going to be breaking down these example deals in this summit. It's a 4-hour class that I'm doing next week as I'm recording this. If you want to see this for free, I'm just going to be covering this at a high level right now. Go to thelandsummit.com, thelandsummit.com. Now, for you spreadsheet nerds out there, I'm speaking to you because I'm one of you. But I just want to show you from a spreadsheet, okay, kind of how these land deals work. And if you still don't like spreadsheets, I think you can still get something out of this. Okay. So a typical property, let's say, is 5 acres. And let's say it's worth about $25,000. That's what 5 acres in this, whatever county we're in, that's about what they're selling for. So when we buy them, we're buying them at about 25 to 35 cents on the dollar. So let's say we make an offer at 30 cents on the dollar. So we make an offer for $7,500. Now, when we sell it with owner financing, we normally might sell it a little bit higher. Let's sell it at 105% of what it current. So we're going to sell it for $26,000, let's say. Now, when we're selling with cash, we're going to offer it at a discount. We're going to sell it at about 75% of what it's worth because we want to sell it quickly. Just like when you wholesale houses, you sell them at a discount. When we wholesale land, we sell it at a discount as well. So it's worth about $25,000. We're going to sell it for $20,000 as a wholesale deal. Okay. And we use a title company. So we have average closing costs of about $1,500. So our total cost to purchase this 5-acre property is $9,000. And if we wholesale it for 20, our gross cash wholesale profit is $11,000. Make sense? Now, most of our deals, we like to sell with owner financing because we like the cash flow. Now, you can get streams of cash and piles of cash, as I like to talk about it. So the piles of cash are the $11,000 here, but you can also get streams of cash. And I'm going to show you how quickly you can get to $10,000 a month when you sell your deals with owner financing. Okay. So let's say on a typical deal, we sell it on owner financing for 5 years. We get about 9% interest. Let's do 9% interest. Okay. And we're going to get 10% down. So we're going to get about $2,600 down. Now, what's our cash out of pocket? Let me zoom out here a little bit. Okay. Did I do this right? Okay. What's our cash out of pocket? I made a mistake here. I need to fix this real quick. Considering closing costs, our cash out of pocket is about $6,300. Zoom back in a little bit. We're buying it for 7,500. We have a 1,500 in closing costs. So our cash out of pocket when we buy this deal is $9,000. But when we sell it with owner financing, we're going to get 2,600 from our buyer. So our actual out of pocket is 6,300 bucks. Now our cash flow, we're going to be getting $490 a month on this deal. Remember, we're selling it for 26,250. Okay. So we're going to be getting $490 a month for 5 years on this property and only putting in $6,300. Do you guys understand what I'm saying here? Oops. Where do we go here? Where else, guys? Where else can you get $490 a month in cash flow from just $6,300 investment? If you're trying to get that with houses, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. This is why, again, I think land is so much better when it comes to cash flow than it is with houses, because you don't have the headaches and the hassles of managing these things either. Okay, back here. So your total profit on this deal, if you sell it with owner financing, will be $24,550. If you sell it for cash, your profit's going to be $11,000. But if you sell it with owner financing, your profit's going to be $24,000. Now, look at this. Your first year cash on cash return is 95%. What does that mean? Of the money that I put into the deal, which was 6,300 bucks, and the cash that I'm getting back that first year, almost the same. I'm getting 5,900 back. That's 95% return on my cash. Now, if you've ever read Rich Dad, Poor Dad or studied, buying houses, you're doing really good if you get 10% cash on cash return on your money when you use leverage and when you use banks. Now, obviously, if you buy with creative financing, there's an infinite return on your cash in that first year if you're using somebody else's money. Well, again, you can use somebody else's money if you want, private investors, when you buy this land. But I just wanted to show you, if you're using your own cash, guys, you're getting 95% cash on cash return. That is stunning. That's amazing. A lot of your deals will even be more than that, which means what? Your total ROI on this deal is going to be 327%. You're getting your money back in less than a year, in 0.9 years. Now, can you imagine doing these deals inside of a self-directed IRA and how quickly your IRA could grow? Some of you guys are in your 50s and 60s, maybe 70s, and you're like, I have no idea how I'm going to ever retire. Guys, this is a way that you could actually start. You do these deals inside of a self-directed IRA, for example. You could take all of these cash flow profits tax-free. Now, I'm not a tax advisor or an attorney, but just bear with me here. Now, let's say your passive income goal is 120 grand a year. So that means you want to make 10 grand a month in passive income from an example deal like this. Again, it's worth 25. You buy it for 7,500. You sell it with owner financing, 5 years, 9% interest. You're going to get $490 a month. So how many of those deals do you need? You need 20 of them. Okay. You need 20.4 deals. Let's say you're doing just one deal a month, It's going to take you 20 months or 1.7 years. In less than 2 years, guys, in less than 2 years, just doing one of these deals a month, you're going to be getting $10,000 a month in passive cash flow. Is that stunning or what? Now, let me show you some simple profit calculations. Now, again, I'm a spreadsheet nerd, and some of you are going to really geek out with this. Some of you are going to be like, oh, Joe, stop. You're hurting my head. And I get it. I understand. But this is really amazing. And again, if you want this spreadsheet, it's in the mind map, which is in the description of my YouTube video. And when you go in there, you can get a link to this mind map. You're not going to be able to go in and edit it, but if you go into File and you go to Download, you can download it as an Excel spreadsheet, or you can make a copy of it into your own Google Drive account. All right. So let's look at some sample profit calculations for wholesaling deals after direct mail costs, because I'm going to be talking about this at thelandsummit.com. Thelandsummit.com. Go there, because I'm going to be talking about how we do the marketing, how we get the leads. These are the easiest types of deals to get because we're sending out mail, and people are calling us. It makes it way easier to do these deals. So let's say your goal, you want to do 2 deals a month, and your average direct mail response rate, I'm being conservative here, is 2%. So, and let's say you need to make about 30 offers to get one deal. We're averaging about 20 to 22 offers to get a deal under contract. Let's say 25. Let's be real conservative. Let's say 30. You need to make 30 offers to get one vacant land deal. That means you need to make 60 offers a month, which also then means you need to send 3,000 letters a month. Now, let's bump that up because we only make offers to about 85% of the responses that we get in. All right. Which means you need to send 882 letters a week. Does that make sense? You need to send 882 letters. If it's actually 4.3 weeks in a year, you need to send 821 letters a week. And if it costs on average about 85 cents a letter, the company we use, this is first class and handwritten envelopes, about 85 cents. Depends on the bulk, how much you do. It's going to cost us about 700 a week or about $3,000 a month for direct mail. That sounds like a lot, but if our average wholesale profit is 11 grand, that means we're grossing about 22 grand. And our net profit after direct mail costs is $19,000. So again, I can't promise or guarantee this. You can play with these numbers all you want. Let's say you're doing 1.5% response rate and it only takes 25 offers to get one deal accepted, and you're doing 2 deals a month. You're going to be netting after direct mail costs almost $19,000. Okay. That's after closing costs and direct mail costs, 2 deals a month, just wholesaling them. You'll be averaging about $18,667 a month. Not bad. Better than a poke in the eye with a stick, right? Now, let's say, I like looking at these kinds of scenarios because it just it gets me excited looking at these kinds of numbers. Well, let's say your annual revenue goal, you want to make, 10 grand a month. You want to gross 10 grand a month or $120,000 a year. And let's say your average wholesale profit is 11 grand, just from what I showed you before. That means you need to do about 10.9 deals a year, 0.9 deals a month. If you have to make 25 offers per every deal you do, that means you need to make 23 offers per month. So you make offers on 85% of your leads. That means you need 27 leads per month. All right. Bearing with me here. Okay. Let's say your average direct mail response rate is 2%. That means you need to send 1,300 letters a month, 311 letters a week. Now, compare that to houses. I'd be surprised if you sent out 1,300 letters a month. I'd be surprised if you did one deal every 3 to 6 months. Okay. With vacant land, it's so much easier because there's so much less competition for these things. And remember, we're buying them for so cheap. We're buying these things at 25, 35 cents on the dollar. Okay. So these numbers can be played a lot of different ways. You might be in an area with 1% response rate. It may take you 40 offers to get one deal accepted. You may just want to only have to do one deal a month. So it just kind of depends. You play with the numbers. I think that I always like being conservative with these things. But it's amazing how much money you can make in this deal, in this land business, and how little marketing you need to spend. We're finding on average, you need to spend about $500 to $1,000 in marketing per deal that you do. Okay. Cool. I think some of you might really like that spreadsheet. It's right here in the mind map. Let me zoom out a little bit and show you the top benefits of flipping land. If you go into that right there, right here, this bottom one, you click on this little icon and it takes you to that spreadsheet that you can make a copy of and play with any way you want. Cool. All right. Now, why did I choose land? Because I've done a lot of house deals, as I'm sure a lot of you have, but why did I choose land? Well, I got a lot of cool things to share with you here, and my mind map is exploding here. I wanted something that I could do with my kids. Here's some sample deals that I did with my 2 sons. Let me open these little pictures up here. This was in Wilkes County, North Carolina. And again, my sons at the time when they started with me on this were about 13 and 14 or 13 and 15 years old. And they were at an age where they couldn't necessarily talk to sellers and negotiate deals and understand ARV and comps and how to estimate repairs and all of that stuff, and negotiate creative financing or huge discounted cash deals. So I wanted something I could do with my kids. And we flipped these 3 or 4 deals I'm going to show you here for very significant profits. Wilkes County, 11.47 acres out in the middle of nowhere. All of our deals are out in the middle of nowhere. They're not infill lots. We're not selling them to home builders. We're selling them to recreational land users, people who want to go camping or hunting or ride their four-wheelers or put a cabin someday in the future or just put out their RV or whatever. 20 grand profit on this deal. This deal in Wilkes County, North Carolina, another one, 5 acres, we made $11,000 profit. This one here in Kern County, California, I mean, we've done deals in probably 6, 7 different states. Kern County, California made 8 grand on this deal. Klamath County, Oregon, we made $7,500 on this deal. Do you notice what's not here? Other houses. A lot of times, now this looks like it might have a paved road or maybe a house over there, but most of our land is very, very rural, very vacant, and we still have a high demand for these things. All right. Now, with my sons, we have grossed over $150,000 in profits in the last few years, doing this very, very part-time. And I also wanted a business. I got into this because I wanted something that gives me piles of cash and streams of cash. It didn't take a lot of money to start, low overhead, very simple, easy business to run. I wanted something that was simple, very part-time, could be run from home or from anywhere in the world. You didn't have to take any debt to run it. And most importantly, it'll allow me to spend more time with my family. And this is a family picture from a year or 2 ago. This is our backyard. We have about 3 acres in the St. Louis area, which we absolutely love. And we've been to Prague a lot. We've gone there 2 or 3 times for about 3 months at a time. We have an RV trip we took for 3 months with all of our kids. All right. Now, the other reason I started getting into land, my students and friends started doing land and they were crushing it. I did a lot of interviews on my podcast, and I did this. I took a look at this here, and this may be hard to see. Let me see if I can make this. Can I make this bigger? Oh, there we go. All right. So I interviewed Phil Marsh here. Where is he? Here we go. This was a student of mine. He was doing some houses. A good friend. He's just an incredible guy in Springfield, Illinois, and he was doing a bunch of houses, doing really well. And I interviewed him, and all of a sudden, he's making about 12 grand a month in notes. I need to update this image, but he's doing over $12,000 a month in notes. I interviewed PJ's doing over 15 grand a month doing real estate. Who was this again? Alicia, yeah, doing deals from Australia. Ray, I interviewed him just a little bit ago, doing over $800,000 net this year so far. Well, that was last year. He was about 900 grand a month. I'm sorry, $900,000 net using flipping vacant land. Travis King's making millions of dollars doing deals, and now he's lending money on deals. Willie's doing over $50 million a year investing in small land from Chicago. Sorry, I got these ladybugs flying here. All right. And then Pete, I just interviewed him. He's doing over 500 grand a month flipping vacant land. I got Victor, who's doing 24 grand a month flipping vacant land. Jamie doing 10 to 20 grand a month, just wholesaling land. Talked about these. And then Clint, good buddy, who's got his own land course, really smart guy. He's doing over 50 grand a month in notes flipping vacant land. Anthony's done over $3 million in the last 2 years. Now he's selling a lot of land to developers, and we talked about that in this podcast. Brent Bowers, my good buddy from Land Sharks, doing over $30,000 a month in passive income from his notes. So I'm just interviewing all these people, and they're killing it and they're crushing it, doing a lot of vacant land. If you go to my YouTube channel, if you just go there and you do a search for land in my video section on my channel, do a search for land, you'll see dozens and dozens and dozens of interviews I've been doing with people and talking about my own land deals and how we're doing them. I also gave you guys here in the mind map a Google Doc that will give you all of the recommended podcasts that I give to my students that I've done before, like my step-by-step walkthrough of recent land deals. I did some three-day flipping dirt challenge videos here. All these links here to some of these best podcasts that I think you're really going to get a lot out of. These guys are very, very smart. My favorite one I'm looking for it here. Here it is with Scott Todd. This was the first one I did probably 3 or 4, maybe 5 years ago with Scott Todd, and his story of how he quit his job and started doing vacant land. You can get all of that again in the mind map. Okay. And I talked about Phil Marsh. Let me show you some of his example deals that he did. He's doing over 12 grand a month in passive income. And you're going to see that there is nothing sexy about this stuff at all. This is a vacant lot with nothing on it in Polk County, Florida. He bought it for $2,500. He sold it for $25,000 in owner financing. His profit on that deal is going to be about 22 grand. He's getting $1,000 down. He got $1,000 down, and he's getting $654 a month in cash flow for 4 years. Bought it for $2,500. So it's actually after the down payment, he's only out of pocket $1,500. Where else can you spend $1,500 on an investment and get $654 back for 4 years, a month for 4 years? This is why I love vacant land again. Again, another deal that he did in Klamath County, Oregon. Nothing out there, middle of nowhere. There's an old cabin on this property. People buy this land all the time for hunting and camping, to ride their four-wheelers, just to go shoot their guns, a place to get off the grid and hide from the government when they come to take their guns. You know how it is, right? So this property, he bought it for 25 grand, sold it for 50. So it's good $25,000 profit. But look at this. He sold it on owner financing. You've got a $15,000 down payment, and he's getting $1,174 a month in cash flow on this deal. So after talking to these people, interviewing them, listening to their stories, even training students to do houses and then start doing land, I'm thinking this is amazing. I want to do land myself, and I wanted to do something with my kids. So bottom line, there's a lot less competition on this. People don't know about land yet. My direct mail response rates are 3 to 5 times higher on land than they are for houses. On houses, you're doing good if you get 1%. We're averaging 2.5 to 3% response rate on our direct mail. You can do this anywhere in the United States, from anywhere in the world. And there's tons of land out there, over 3,000 counties. And I already talked about this, some of the research that I did on vacant land. All right. Now, also, this is one of the big reasons why I started doing vacant land. I'm busy, and I do not like talking to sellers. I do not like it. Right. And so what we've done is I set it up where I don't answer the phones live. I don't pay for expensive live answering services because I don't like negotiating huge discounts with sellers over the phone. I wanted to build a real business with real automation in it. So we send every seller to a voicemail, and I'll talk about this at thelandsummit.com. Let me just put this here in case you forgot about it, right? Thelandsummit.com. We listen to voicemails. So we send a letter. It says, hey, and I'll give you my letter too, by the way, and my contract. But the letter says, hey, please call or text our 24-hour recorded voicemail if you want to sell your land. So about 2 to 3 times a week, my sons sit down, they listen to the voicemails, and then we send them an offer. We send them an offer at 25 cents on the dollar, and we don't talk to the sellers ever until after they've accepted our lowball offer, or maybe have some questions or want a counter offer of that. Okay. And we're getting an average about 1 every 25 offers accepted. This is why the beautiful thing about it is the automation that's coming from this. Okay. Now, my land summit that's coming up, if you go to thelandsummit.com, and if you go there, I think I have the link right here to set up. Now, again, if you're looking at this after the summit's already happened, don't worry about it. You can go to thelandsummit.com and still be able to get recordings of this. So I'm revealing the secrets of my most lucrative strategies to dominate this business. I'm going to show you my simple 6-step system. I'm going to talk about marketing and automation and delegation. Those are the 3 keys to success in this business. I'm going to show you how to unlock hot leads in hot markets. It's a 4-hour class. I'm going to give you my entire blueprint, and I'm going to give you a $150,000 strategy PDF. This is a PDF I put together my whole business in, and you can look at it and how we set everything up. It's a really cool PDF. You're going to love it. And I show you all of my stuff and what I do in there. You'll be surprised how easy it is. All right. So go to thelandsummit.com. It's going to be live, but again, if you're watching this later, you can watch it later if it's passed already. I'm going to be very interactive in this thing. If you register and come to it, I want you to participate and ask questions because I'm going to be answering all of your questions. And here's what we're going to be covering in the live summit. Common questions like, you know what? Why would anyone ever sell their land for so cheap? And who buys this cheap land in the middle of nowhere? Where am I going to get the money to buy these deals? What if I make an offer because I can't go see the property? What if I make an offer on a bad deal? Can I back out of it? What if I have a full-time job? How can I do this? What if I don't like talking to sellers? I don't have time, or English is a second language? And what about competition? I'm going to be answering all of these questions and how to deal with them. I'm going to be sharing my 6 steps. I call it my 10K in 10 hours program. And the 6 steps are real simple. I'm going to be showing you all of this step by step, right? I'm going to show you market research, how to pick the right counties. This is so important. We're going to be spending a good amount of time on this because when you pick the right markets, and I'm going to show you like real-time stats showing you the best markets to go into where you can see where the hottest demand is. That's so important. I'm going to show you how to pull a list of sellers. We pull lists of sellers that have owned vacant land for over 10 years. They don't live in that county. And then we're going to send them letters. I'm going to show you the letters that I send, how we set up the voicemails. When the leads come in, the voicemails come in, I'm going to show you how we make them offers, how we do, if they accept our offer, how do we do our due diligence where we're actually going to be reviewing whether we want to buy this property or not. And then really important is getting paid, right? I'm going to show you how to sell the properties, which websites we post them on, how we sell them so quickly, and how to sell them with owner financing and how to sell them with cash. Okay. I'm also going to be talking about, this is so important, how to overcome the 6 main roadblocks to success in this business. You know, a lot of people say, that sounds great, Joe. Is it really that easy to make 10K in 10 hours? And the answer is no, it's not. There's going to be roadblocks and problems and hassles. And some of the biggest roadblocks I see students coming up against is selecting the right counties, setting up all the tech stuff, getting the money to buy the deals, how to pull the right list. And then you get the list and what do you do with it? How do you organize the spreadsheet? How do you send the right letters? How do you manage the leads as they come into the CRM? How do you know if you're making a good offer on a property? And what if you don't have the right mentor? How do you get your questions answered, right? So if you don't know the answer to these things, if you can't resolve these roadblocks, you're going to fail in this business. And I'm going to show you in this at thelandsummit.com how to overcome those roadblocks. I'm going to spend a lot of time talking about the 3 secrets to automation and how it applies to all of this, marketing and automation and delegation. I'm going to give you my 10-page PDF, which you're going to love. I think this is amazing. You're going to get so much out of it. And I'm going to show you how to get my land flipping business in a box where you can get all your marketing and the tech stuff done for you. I'm going to show you how you can get it all set up. And I'm going to show you how you can get free coaching and free help. And it's amazing what I do with this stuff in my course. I actually give people their money back when they complete my program. I've refunded over $250,000 in course completion challenges to people that have bought my land courses and implemented them. So here we go. Thelandsummit.com. If you're not convinced that vacant land is better than houses, I get it. I understand. There are a lot of benefits to doing houses, but I'm telling you, I've been teaching this stuff for a long, long time. I've done a lot of deals, houses and land deals, right? I have more student success stories and testimonials from students doing land than I have ever had doing houses. We're seeing a lot of tremendous success if you do it right, and you got to make sure you do it right. You want to set it up in simple systems that are repeatable and easy to implement, easy to duplicate, and all of that good stuff, right? We're getting some questions here. All right, I can see. Yeah, somebody's telling me here, I'm not going to show these comments here. Somebody's saying, shh, stop talking about this, Joe. This is great. Okay, some good questions here. I want to end this video right now with that. Those are good questions. I'll go back in the comments and talk about that. So guys, again, go to thelandsummit.com, thelandsummit.com. I look forward to seeing you there. Remember, again, if you're watching this video after we've gone live, that's okay. We'll still on that page show you how to get access to the video that I did. And I'm excited about it. We'll see you there, everybody. Thank you so much.